go. Now we can see this. This is FiiO or FiiO, depending on your pronunciation. And we can see the name now. Okay, this is the K1. You can see the headphone jack over here, and we see the micro USB port over here, and that is a DAC and amp for phones, basically, or iPods, low power devices that cannot feed an amp off of their USB port. Anyway, it came with a cable, and I am using this equipment here to get it to work with my iPhone. This is an adapter that I got for my USB-C on the new Apple laptop. I think they call it a MacBook 12-inch. Anyway, this little goodie here has a USB-A female that is apparently compatible with USB-C. Then it has the iPhone lightning connector on this end, and from there we hook up this little guy here. This is a what brand is this here? It's I just remember. Anyway, it has the micro USB port, and we see the micro USB port on the DAC, and we plug that in like so. And you could even put one of those new Audio Quest USB filters in there if you wanted to. But anyway, then we plug the USB-A into the little Apple connector here, and now we have our DAC sitting there with the headphone jack, and we plug that into the iPhone or iPod or whatever, and we're ready to go. And you just plug your headphone in on that end. Now I wanted to talk about the quality of this, because that's very important. This is very tiny. I think you can tell how tiny that is compared to a finger. You know, it really is a thumb drive. The quality is such that I used one track, an old track I have called With or Without You by U2, and I got a good CD rip, and there's a instrumental part that comes on, and then all of a sudden starts a boomy bass part. Now that boomy bass part is tighter and cleaner and more detailed with this amp than with my phone directly, and that's an iPhone 6s Plus. Now the iPhone 6s Plus is supposed to have a very good audio section, but it's more boomy, and it's obvious too. It's not one of those subtle things. It's a very obvious difference. And now a lot of times when people say tight bass or detailed bass or whatever, they're talking about reduced bass that sounds tighter, more detailed, because it doesn't have the impact in it, and so on and so forth. That's not the case with this FiiO K1. This K1 has a better bass, period. And now I didn't test the whole bass critically up and down, but I did play a 16 hertz organ pedal, the Kellogg Auditorium organ. Sounded pretty darn good. It's good as any headphone I've had, and so it's got bass that goes way down, and it's better than the iPhone 6s Plus, which is just absolutely amazing. I haven't done a critical evaluation yet of the upper end. Certainly the mid-range is nice and clean and all that. I haven't done a really critical analysis of the top end of this though, so I can't say. I have a David Chesky record with Won Jung Kim called Girl from Guatemala, which has a very intense treble section starting at 3 minutes. It's a download from HD Tracks. I think it's sold separately for only about $2 or $3. But anyway, that track, that treble burst in there is just amazing with all those high frequency instruments and stuff, and great test. It passed that test. It's at least as good as the phone, so, but I don't know yet if it's better or not. I gotta try some other stuff. Anyway, I've also driven my Beyerdynamic DT1770 Pro, a $600 headphone, and I think it's 250 ohm, and that ran okay on this. It was clean, played loud without distortion, pretty good. So this is a heck of a little amp, and this is a little box that comes in, the little plastic thing that goes onto retail shelves. And inside that little orange box inside is the cable, and then the amp was on a plastic insert in there, so nothing much to look at. But anyway, there it is, the new FiiO K1 tiny size DAC amp for phones and so on. I can't guess how this would work with Androids or whether it would improve the sound a lot. I have no idea. All I know is what I've tried so far with this iPhone, and that is very impressive. So for 40 bucks, I would say highly recommended. Thank you very much.